Welcome back to Melody Guitar 4. This book focuses on reading and playing melodies in standard notation up to the 12th fret. We're on pages 6 through 8. In this lesson, we're going to go over some fretboard memory exercises. You can watch all these videos for free, but it's going to be a lot easier to learn if you have your own copy of Melody Guitar 4 that you can read from and write in, plus you can help support a music teacher, so I'll leave a link in the description. In the previous lesson, we went over the layout of the fretboard. In this lesson, we have some memory exercises. As we go through these, remember that golden rule. Most of these natural notes are 2 frets away from each other, except for your B and your C and your E and your F. Those 2 notes are always right next to each other on the fretboard. In this first memory exercise, you simply pick a string and say and play the notes up and down the string. Let's say if we're doing the 6th string, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then play and say the other way. D, C, B, A, G, F, E. It's very important to actually say the notes out loud as you play them. It's a really good way of getting these notes in your brain and under your fingers. Let's do one other string, maybe the G string. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and back the other way. F, E, D, C, B, A, G. And make sure you do this with all the strings. Once you can find those notes in order fairly easily on every string, you can shuffle them up a little bit. Maybe get yourself a set of index cards, just 7 cards. Just write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 1 note per card, and then shuffle them up, see what you get. So let's say we came up with G, B, F, C, D, A, and E. Do this on every string, and I'm just going to pick the 4th string for a demonstration. So on the 4th string, we find our G, B, F, C, D, which could be the 12th fret or it could be the open string, A, and E. And again, say and play these as you do them, and do this on every string. A third memory exercise will be to pick just 1 note, but find it on every string, just jumping from string to string. And when I was learning the fretboard, I did this going from as low in the fretboard as I could to up the neck. So if you pick the note C, you could find a C down here at the end of the neck. The next one to my right is right here at the 5th string. There's one here on the 3rd string. There are 2 here on the 1st string and the 6th string, and then there's 1 here on the 4th string. A final step to memorizing the fretboard is the sharps and flats, filling in the gaps between the natural notes. As a reminder, a sharp raises a note by 1/2 step or 1 fret. So let's say I'm naming all my notes, including my sharps, going up the neck on the 1st string, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E. And let's go the other way, naming our flats on the same string. E at the 12th fret, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, and E. Notice that B sharp and E sharp and F flat and C flat don't appear in the diagrams. Those notes do exist. Technically, E sharp and F are the same note. B sharp and C are the same note. And the other way applies as well. F flat and E are the same note. C flat and B are the same note. Again, those notes do exist. You don't see them very often. I do not include them in this book, but it's good to be aware of them in case you encounter them. Also keep in mind enharmonics, which we talked about in Melody Guitar Book 2. Enharmonic is when you have the same note that can be spelled differently. For example, F sharp and G flat. Same note, they're just spelled differently. G sharp and A flat. Same sounding note, A sharp and B flat. C sharp and D flat, D sharp and E flat. Same sounding pitch, different spelling. They are called enharmonic equivalents. You can move on from here even if you can't name all those notes instantly just yet. You're going to be learning the fretboard gradually as we go. These memory exercises will just speed things up. On page 8, you'll see a whole bunch of notes. This is only for reference. You do not need to memorize this right now. You will gradually learn the fretboard as you work through the book, but let me just show you what you're looking at here. In standard notation, you'll see all the notes from low E on the 6th string to high E at the 12th fret on the 1st string. And you'll also see enharmonic equivalents in the same measure. For example, in the first line, there's an F sharp and a G flat that share the same measure. They're on the same fret. In the second line, there's an A sharp and B flat, enharmonically equivalent, shown in the same measure. Above the staff, you'll see a description of where you can find that note on the fretboard. The lowest and highest notes, there's only one place you'll find those on the fretboard, but for most of the others, you'll be able to find that same note in multiple places. For example, line 3, there's a D sharp or E flat, whatever you want to call it, on the 4th string, 1st fret, on the 5th string, fret 6, and on the 6th string at the 11th fret. Again, this is something you don't need to memorize right now. You'll gradually learn this as you go through the book, but you could keep this page handy for reference. Your assignment is to practice the memory exercises on page 6. Take your time with this, and then when you're ready, I'll see you on page 9 for some scale charts. The more comfortable you are with scales, the easier this book is going to be. And don't forget to order your own copy of Melody Guitar 4. The link is in the description.